You are the best at coming up with excuses for why you shouldn't take action on, the things that you know that you need to do. It's really allowed me to think about, like, what excuses do I come up with to not hold myself accountable? Lacking a clear and detailed vision, I feel, allowed me to, like, stay in the place that I was. If you are unwilling to confront reality, then you will not be able to change it. What's up? My name is Corey. I'm 25 years old, and this is part 7 of my Uncut series. I think. I am going to be talking about my thoughts and reflections on the 12-week year. I've been recently getting out of a slump, and this is like the best I've felt in a minute, in over a year, probably, I would say. And yeah, I'm just going to talk about what has been helping me get, out of that mental funk that I've been in for like several months and stuff. So yes, I have some notes to make this kind of structured, because sometimes I get to rambling when I do this. But yes, and a reason that I do these videos is to develop this no excuses mindset when it comes to YouTube, my baby, trying to, build my content and my audience. At the very least, I can get on the camera and just, talk about a topic that's like meaningful for me, and it can still help a lot of people, even if I'm not putting my all into doing like research and all that stuff. But so yes, I've been reading the 12-week year, and I have come up with 5 key reasons that I felt like I was in my slump. And then I'll talk about, well, first let me talk about what was going through my head. When I was in this mental funk these past several months, I pretty much like was really into making the content for my YouTube. I was seeing a lot of progress, and then I kind of just didn't know where to go. And one of the biggest things I realized is that I was lacking a detailed vision. So I had a general idea of what I wanted to accomplish and what I wanted to do, but there were a lot of areas that I was also just kind of not satisfied with life. Like my social relationships weren't doing their best. Didn't really have a big romantic life. I'm wording that weird, but wasn't really into the dating a whole bunch. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do with my YouTube. I just knew I wanted it to grow. And it was, doing okay without the intentionality. Another thing is I was in a job that I just was very unhappy in. And a lot of things have changed with that. Like I've become more content with my social situation. I got a new job, which I think is probably the initiating factor to just in general me feeling like I'm moving forward with something. I'm actually seeing an indicator to develop like progress towards something that I wanted to do, which was make more money and get in a healthy, more stable, progress oriented like work environment. But yes, even with that, because I've been in the job, I'm in week 4, I still was lacking like a detailed vision of like what I wanted for my life overall. So one of the things in the book they have you do is create that vision for yourself. Do like a little 5, 10, 15 year kind of thing, then break it down into something that's, okay, in the next 3 years, what do you want to do? And then you further break that down into this 12-week year. I'm not going to do a book review until I like finish it and actualize it, but yes, so lacking a clear and detailed vision, I feel allowed me to like stay in the place that I was and kind of just gain comfort in it. If you don't know where you're going, you kind of just gotta get used to where you're at, kind of. And so I wasn't doing like horrible by any means, like, and I was, I'm also trying to develop more gratitude for the situation that I am. But yeah, I think without having the vision, I was just allowing myself to kind of fall back into that little funnel. So if you are in a slump, or if something is, going through your head, whether it be some type of emotions or some situation you're going through, try and rework your vision. This is something that I did when I got depressed last year after like a breakup. Like the first thing I did was I wrote out, I recently like reviewed this too. I wrote out 35 just what are all the things that I want to accomplish not by the time I'm 30, but around the time that I'm 30. I just wrote them all out, and that kind of motivated me to start taking action, which is going to lead into the next thing, which is tracking. So I had these goals that I had set up for the year, or for my that I wanted to accomplish by my birthday. And I was half-assing the tracking pretty much. I track finance. My main goals are surrounding health, finance, and YouTube. And I was just kind of on and off doing the tracking. So say like I'm trying to gain weight. And so I, maybe like a couple months ago, I think it was around April, I downloaded Macro Factor so I could track my calories as well as, you know, your other, like your main macronutrients and stuff. And then I was like, I would do it for a minute and then I would stop. And then I would do it for a minute and then I would stop. So more so what I was lacking was the commitment to my tracking. Another thing, I use Rocket Money to track all my finances. I'm able to put everything in proper categories to see like where I'm spending and then adjust. So I was really doing really good with this in the beginning of the year. And then whenever, like around tax season is just when everything just started going crazy. Like I had to pay like $850 in taxes. Even more, I actually just filed my taxes like a couple months ago. Like I had paid my taxes, but I didn't file them because it was some weird stuff. Yeah, I had paid a bunch in taxes. I had to get a car repair like recently, so that was literally another $850. And what else have I had to get my car registration renewed. These are just things that I didn't save for, and then just seeing my account be drained with these like expenses that I wasn't expecting was pretty, it made me feel like, okay, all this progress you kind of did, you're not really working towards it anymore. And that's not true. Like, of course, like things are gonna come up, and this is why you would have like a rainy day fund. Grateful in the first place as well that I did have some sort of money saved up for me to be able to, you know, do like pay in cash at the very least, or not at the very least, pay in cash even, like, you know, just for these expenses. Like I didn't have to put it on a credit card and then potentially go into further debt with it. I am like pretty responsible with my credit cards and stuff, so I make sure I pay off my bills like monthly pretty much. But yeah, I'm grateful that I was in that situation, but just like I was tracking and then just seeing everything just kind of it didn't get taken away, but, you know, just working with the unexpected stuff was quite defeating. So I fell off with tracking for my finances. So we talked about tracking for weight with calorie tracker. I kind of track my workouts. I don't know, I'm pretty motivated to work out, so I don't do a whole bunch with tracking with that. Kind of just go when I feel like it, and that ends up being at least like 3 or 4 times a week. We've talked about, yeah, health and fitness, finance, and then what is my other thing? Oh, YouTube. I had came up with a planner for tracking, and I'm not gonna, well, maybe I'll put a screenshot of it. It kind of just shows like watch time, subscribers based on like the month, and then like the, I guess the year to date and stuff. And I had, just because I had seen like a stall with the growth, I just stopped doing it. And so to just talk about that, tracking is important, but tracking is especially important when you don't feel like it, or when you feel like you're not making progress. I wrote a quote that was in the book. If you are unwilling to confront reality, then you will not be able to change it. So tracking is so important because it puts in front of you tracking is important because it makes you like hold yourself accountable pretty much. It puts in front of you like the results or outcomes of your actions, or it puts in front of you your actions more so, and it makes you be like, hey, am I actually taking the steps to work toward what I'm trying to do, or do I just think it's like cool in a theory? There was another quote in the book that's like, whatever, if you just keep it between your head and don't put it on the paper, then it's kind of just like a waste of time. That's not what the book said, but, you know, something along those lines. So yeah, I was tracking and I was doing well at it for a while, but it's like once that one thing hit, that I came up with an excuse to just allow myself to just go down. Throat's getting dry. But okay, the next thing is being intentional. So I guess these are kind of going in a sort of order, but I feel like in order for you to be able to accomplish the things you want, you have to be intentional. That comes with creating that vision, but also like you have to take action towards it in a way that's meaningful to you. You can't really have someone else describe what that meaning is, you know what I'm saying? You have to really sit down, look at yourself and say, okay, these are the things I want to accomplish. This is why I want to accomplish them. And then I think that allows you to move forward and take steps to be intentional. If you're not intentional, like, things are not going to just happen off a whim. I think that's something that I've said quite a few times in wow, my bad. I'm losing my my throat. But we're not going to cut any of this out because this is forcing me to not be perfect. But yes, with intentionality, things aren't just going to get better because, like, you just want them to. That's not how that works. It's not how life works. Things are going to get better when you actually take actions and take steps towards it. So I'm going to get into the next one, which is another thing I've been realizing is, like, how not poor, but ineffective my time management has been. I recently started 75 Hard, and, you know, you have to, like, you're adding, like, a certain amount of tasks that you're doing, like, on a daily basis. And by doing this challenge, I'm like 7 days in, I'm realizing I have a lot more time than I think. And that also allows me to realize how much time I was wasting doing Lord knows what, who knows what, feeling, like, sad and sorry for myself and not making, like, progress. I feel like there's definitely a balance with, like, taking the time that you need, but, like, don't take the time that you need and just use that as an excuse to, like, sit down and not do anything. And then, or at least don't do that and then complain that you don't have the things that you want. So yeah, as far as time management, I've been able to, you know, schedule things a little better. Like, you have to be, it's like one of the things in the 75 Hard is you gotta do 2 workouts. So it's like you have to be intentional and say that, okay, I'm gonna do this at this time and do this later at this time. Yesterday, if you don't, then you'll end up like me yesterday, like, oh, I'll get the second workout in a little later, and then I ended up going out and had to do the workout when I came back. So time management is very important, because if you don't do it, then you're gonna likely end up skipping or missing out on whatever action that is that you need to take. I be rewatch when I'm, like, editing my videos. I'm like, damn, I talk fast as shit, and no one's ever, like, said anything, but I'm like, how do you understand this? But yes, so we've talked about having a lack of a detailed vision and how I guess I could go into that, how I actually, like, sat down. If y'all would be interested, let me know about that. But how I actually, like, sat down, went over my vision, and how I just, like, did, like, a big brainstorm, and then how I brought it in and made it something, like, a little more realistic for the next couple years. We talked about tracking. I've mentioned some of the apps that I've used for tracking and how they have benefited me and why tracking in general is important. Talked about intentionality, which kind of goes with the tracking. Talked about time management and how, kind of, like, you can have all these ideas in your head, but if you're not planning it out properly, then you're gonna likely fall off. I feel a big thing with productivity and habit building is being able to realize what your barriers are. Lord, excuse me. It's being able to realize what your barriers are, what kind of triggers you to fall off, and then being able to sidestep that, like, get in front of it before it happens. And then if it does happen, how are you going to bounce back after it happens? So yeah, we talked about time management, and the last thing is going to be my pity parties. I've never, like, really gone into detail about this, but yeah, I feel like when you get to a place with your goals where you don't feel all motivated, like, you are the best at coming up with excuses for why you shouldn't take action on, you know, the things that you know that you need to do. And I know for me, at least, I can be my greatest cheerleader sometimes, but I'm also that friend that is just complaining along with you. It's kind of weird. I'm talking about myself and, like, I don't know. The analogy is not adding up completely, but yeah, I just know that I can find an excuse for me to not do something, and that's not beneficial. It doesn't help me. Like I said, there's balance in, you know, intentionally taking time. Like I said, there's balance in intentionally taking time when you're like, okay, sometimes, like, I don't got it today. Or if I were to get on camera, like, it's gonna kind of be shit. But that overall complacency, it's like, that's how I know when I'm not in my best places. And it's hard for me to, like, associate myself with people who, like, do the same, because I know I am so good at doing it for myself. So if I get one other voice that's like, oh yeah, Corey, skip that thing or don't do that thing, then I'm for sure like finna be on board with the stuff that is just not productive for me and not beneficial for me. Some other topics that they talk about a lot in the book are about, you know, just accountability, being able to hold yourself accountable and, you know, do the things that you say you're gonna do, and how that helps, you know, build confidence. And that's ultimately how you start accomplishing, you know, those little tasks daily, which help you end up in the place that you're trying to be. It's really allowed me to think about like, what excuses do I come up with to not hold myself accountable, to not be responsible for the things that I'm trying to accomplish. Because overall, I don't know, I feel like sometimes I'm hard on myself in the way that I speak, but I know that what I'm doing is not just for me. Like, there are so many things that I want to be able to do, which I was able to figure out when I did the vision planning. And it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like I'm doing all the people that I can potentially impact a disservice by not holding myself accountable. And to be honest, you know, everybody has their own path when they figure out, you know, when is the right time for them to like take this next step. I always looked at 75 hard like it was something like crazy, and you know, the more extreme you do something, the easier it is to kind of fall off of it. But nah, for real, it's been like really beneficial in helping me realize the things that I want to do. It has me reading again. Like, another thing is, when I'm reading, there are certain things that are like, when they're going on in my life, I know that I'm going to be operating at my best. And one of those things is reading, taking in new information, not just on like YouTube or like an interview, watching interviews or something. Lord, there's an actual frog in my throat right now. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope that was beneficial for you. And check out this video if you're interested, learning more about that vision planning and that overall mindset shift to help you accomplish, you know, what you're trying to do in life. I believe in you. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Yo, I can't breathe. There's something in my throat.